leave, and then when you guys
2014 International
finish, we'll have to
Tattoo
pack
Ball.
everything up. The flowers are all yours. You're welcome to take them all back too. And
He's got tattoos.
not that bad. Pack everything up and.
Big military bands and stuff, they call it the International Tattoo.
So nothing to worry about. The DVD's playing good. It's been running since about 11, so no hiccups with that. Not that I intended it, but normally I would, but you guys being in this business, I'm not. And then,
Good afternoon, everyone. At this time, we're going to begin our service this afternoon. I know we're going to have some words of remembrance from Ed and from Nancy, and I believe if anybody else would like to share any memories, you're welcome to do so when they're through. Whether you'd like to come up here to the podium and speak, or if you even want to just stand in your seat and talk loudly, whatever you're more comfortable with. Okay? Just a quick little reminder, if anyone happens to have their cell phone, could you kindly make sure that they're turned off or turned on to silent during our service today? That would be greatly appreciated. Okay, and then after all of our service is through, as far as everyone speaking, we will have the Honor Guard service with the United States Navy as well. So, okay, so we'll just, we'll start now with that.
I want to thank everyone for coming. It's been a rough couple of weeks for me and my family, and the people have reached out to us, you people, the friends and the relatives, the loved ones. It just made it a lot easier. It's a kind of an impossible situation, but it was made possible because of the people like you, the people who reached out to us. So I just want to thank you. I want to start by reading something by Robert Ingersoll. It's something that kind of helped me get through this period, so I just want to share it with you. I know how vain it is to gild a grief with words, and yet I wish to take from every grave its fear. Here in this world where life and death are equal kings, all should be brave enough to meet what all the dead have met. The future has been filled with fear, stained and polluted by the heartless past. From the wondrous tree of life, the buds and blossoms and ripened fruit, in the common bed of earth, patriarchs and babes sleep side by side. Why should we fear that which will come to all that is? We cannot tell and we do not know what is the greater blessing, life or death. We cannot say that death is not good. We do not know whether the grave is the end of this life or the door of another, or whether the night here is not somewhere else at dawn. Neither can we tell which is the more fortunate, the child dying in its mother's arms before its lips have learned to form a word, or he who journeys all the length of life's uneven road, painfully taking the last slow steps with staff and crutch. Every cradle asks us whence, and every coffin whither. The poor barbarian weeping above his dead can answer these questions just as well as the robed priest of the most authentic creed. The tearful ignorance of the one is as consoling as the unmeaning words of the other. No man standing where the horizon of life has touched a grave has the right to prophesy a future filled with pain and grief. Maybe death gives us all there is of worth to life. If those we press and strain within our arms could never die, perhaps the love would wither from this earth. Maybe this is common fate that treads out from the past between our hearts the weeds of selfishness and hate. And I'd rather live in love where death is king than have eternal life where love is not. Another life is not. And unless we know and love again the ones who love us here. They who stand with breaking hearts around this memorial need have no fear. The larger and the nobler faith in all that is and is to be tells us that death, even at its worst, is only a perfect rest. There is for us this consolation: the dead do not suffer. If they live again, their lives will surely be as good as ours. We have no fear. We are all the children of the same mother, and the same fate awaits us all. We too have our religion, and it is this: help for the living and hope for the dead. There's a part of me that wants to believe that my brother John swam the shore, and he's secretly holed up somewhere in Costa Rica with a Swiss bank account and a stash of Cubans. But that's my brother's style, but you know. The fact is, John has died, and that makes him one of the lucky ones. Most people are never going to die because most people are never going to be born. The potential people who could have been boating down the Delaware River that day outnumber the grains of sand in the Sahara or even the stars in the universe. We know this because the set of possible people provided by our DNA so massively outnumbers the set of actual people. And against these incredible odds, it's you and it's I and it's John that get to walk this earth. Get to love and be loved. And get the opportunity to experience a brief moment in this wonderful universe. John was lucky. He spent half a century in our world. He was born in Bristol, Pennsylvania in 1965. He was raised in Vermilion Hills in Levittown, along with me, his sister Nancy, and his brother David, raised by our wonderful parents, Ed and Regina. He attended Pennsbury School District with many of you here. John was a star athlete his whole life, and in Pennsbury he became captain of the football team. John once told me that out of all the awards that he achieved throughout his life for his athletic achievement, that the thing that meant the most to him was being elected captain of the football team by his peers. It wasn't the acclaim from the newspapers and the awards, it was just the realization that those around him that he helped and he worked with and he struggled with and that he sought to inspire were affected by his efforts, that he made a meaningful difference in their life. And this was kind of a theme that would run through my brother's life. When he left high school, he went on to study politics and history at Wagner University. He eventually transferred over to Kutztown, where he had a career-ending football injury. And I remember when I picked him up that day from the hospital, and I just thought he was going to be devastated. I mean, how do you work so hard and so long towards a goal and just have it taken away in a tragedy? And but it didn't seem to bother him. He just kind of brushed it off and moved on with the next phase of his life. And he left college. He went to work for the U.S. Treasury Department. He was a special agent who investigated tax fraud, ironically. He spent a couple of years there, and he eventually left. He decided that he wanted to be on the other side of the fence, and he opened up his own tax firm, which he grew to be one of the largest in Pennsylvania. And it still exists today. It's a Matrix Tax Service, and I'm proud to be the person that's running that firm. I can't tell you how many people have come up to me and told me a story about how John helped them with some tax issue with the IRS or just gave them some meaningful financial advice that helped change their life. And that was before and even now. Like I said, it was a theme that ran through his life. He started a number of other businesses, actually. Most recently, he was opening up He was starting his own online publication, a magazine. He was doing some freelance journalism work for the Guardian Press. And, typical John fashion, he didn't want to, he wanted to own the place. So he decided he was going to start his own political magazine. And he was in the process of doing that. And I have no doubt in my mind he would have been successful at that. Anyone who knew John knew that he loved politics and he loved history. And he loved to debate. And I can't tell you how many nights I spent till 5 o'clock in the morning over a cigar and some bourbon and debating politics with him. And my brother was conservative in the veins of William F. Buckley Jr. And I was liberal Democrat. And, as his big brother, I tried to knock some sense into that kid, but just didn't ever happen. So, a lot of people told me that when I come up here, I should tell an anecdote or a funny story or something like that. And I gave it a lot of thought. And the thing is, when you've known somebody as long as I've known my brother, and when you are as close to somebody as I was with my brother, there isn't an object or a person or a location, a song that does not remind me of him. If you've heard of 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, well, I've got 1 degree to John Polkowitz. So I'm not going to tell any stories. I'll save them for a little while later over a drink and a cigar. But I want to let me finish with this. I was proud of John. I was proud of him when we were children. I was proud of him when we were young men. And I'm proud of him now. My brother lived life under his own terms. And he died doing what he loved to do. He filled the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds of distance run. And we should all be that lucky. Thanks.
Thank you, Ben. That's going to be hard to follow. John and I have an odd relationship. Nobody wanted a little sister around. He had his brother, he had his younger brother. He didn't need me. But it dawned on me in the last couple of weeks that we had something very major in common, and that was our love of sports, which is why I'm wearing his jersey. And it dawned, I spent many, many hours watching him play baseball, watching him play football. And that's my memories of him, because that's what I had in common the most with him. And I thank him for that, because I love football because of him. Many years, Pennsbury, all the teammates, his friends, high school. I was there in the bleachers every Saturday with Mom, watching him play. I have that. Anyway, there's a funny little story I want to share. I was about 8, maybe John was 11. He was getting ready to play bench shell in minor league of a town. And he's running around the house like a maniac, going, where are my spikes? Where are my spikes? I can't find my spikes. You know what spikes are? Cleats. Yeah, he's looking for his shoes, and he's running around me. And I found them. I found them behind the couch. I say, Johnny, Johnny, I got your spikes. I found them. Well, Dad steps in and says, thank your sister for finding your spikes. Johnny didn't do it. Yeah. Thank your sister. Give her a kiss. Thank your sister. She found your spikes. So, Johnny grabs the spikes out of my hand, pushes me up against the wall, because that's what Johnny did. He pushed, he teased. That's what he did to me. Pushed me up against the wall. Dad says, thank your sister. Give her a kiss. I'm up against the wall. What does Johnny do? He comes in and he kisses the wall. He did not want to kiss me. And I'm standing there as an 8-year-old going, what the? But I was 8. We didn't do what the back then. So this past week, I made it my mission. I wanted to find Johnny's baseball stuff. I wanted to find it. So I go through his stuff. and I find his spikes. I want to tell Johnny that I found your spikes.
Thanks, Nancy. I'd like to open up the floor if there's anyone else who has a story, wants to share a moment that they had with John. Please feel free to do so. Ask Deb. This is my oldest daughter, Devin, who is going to read us a poem.
I chose this poem because I think that in times when something tragic happens and you have no power to change it, it's important to remember that you can always change your perspective. This poem is by David Hartkin, so here it goes. You can shed tears that he is gone, or you can smile because he has lived. You can close your eyes and pray that he will come back, or you can open your eyes and see all that he has left. Your heart can be empty because you can't see him, or you can be full of the love that you shared. You can turn your back on tomorrow and live yesterday, or you can be happy for tomorrow because of yesterday. You can remember him and only that he is gone, or you can cherish his memory and let it live on. You can cry and close your mind, be empty and turn your back, or you can do what he would have wanted, smile, open your eyes, love, and go on. Thanks. I'd like to thank Nancy. We cried for that. You're welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our services for John today. On behalf of his family, I would like to thank our Honor Guard representatives from the United States Navy. I'd also like to thank each and every one of you for the love and the support that you have offered to his family throughout this extremely difficult time. I've been asked by the family to extend an invitation to join them for lunch at the home of Ed and Lynn. As you exit the building today, Phil will be handing out directions to the residents if you're not familiar with where they live. But they have also invited all of you to the home today. And now, ladies and gentlemen, as a final token, I'd like to ask everyone to kindly step forward, starting with those of you in the back of the room, stepping up to side aisle to your left and just taking a moment to say goodbye. Thank you.
I'm trying to remember.
That picture with the tan shirt on up at the top when he's about 5, that looks just like Eddie. Yeah. Oh, there, what that was supposed to Navy. I guess he went to Navy after college.
I swear I Yeah, let me know. Oh, okay, Yeah, okay. I don't think there's ever that, that's why. It wasn't now, I'm sure it was. No, it wasn't. Yeah. Takes you Yes, I will. Yes, only these last year. What a way to be there. I don't think we actually had. I don't think
Because, you know, something, that's kind of how you get through it.
You're here. Yes, yes.
Not just food here.
We're gonna like Oh, okay. I'm just being pitchy. Lunch and week the other day, so tasty, forever spring. Yeah, that's good. Probably the last time I made there should be one. In Florida. So, your story got me. Did it? It's like, it was always that way.
I'm 45 again.
Yeah, well, that's.
Do you remember? I don't know. Do you remember that story with Johnny? I've been talking about it. I was talking about that for a year or so, you want to listen. I thought you were good. You were going to talk about your heart. I had that, but this one is
Doesn't it look like I was thinking this earlier, because he took this small binder, it doesn't look like papers. Like, you know, he's on the other end of the screen.
I know you are, but how about your sister?
9'4", 2 feet. At that time, it was pressure to the lower
And
I live here, and my brother's also in Indiana. So I'm the
Oh.
one that's.
Yeah, it's like, where are you coming?
They wobble a lot behind the front. The other, you know.
Works too, right?
They get around, right?
Gotcha.
And I guess, some one of us who did it, you know, we just don't want to be the